On a Halloween morning in 2019, a senior at Clark Atlanta University vanished from her off-campus apartment without a trace. Within days, investigators would uncover one of the most heartbreaking betrayals imaginable. The young woman had been murdered by the two people she trusted most, her best friend and roommate, and that roommate's boyfriend. What makes this case even more devastating is that just days before her death, she had reported being sexually assaulted by one of her accused killers, setting in motion a chain of events that would end in tragedy.
Hold on to your kids. Love them. Talk to them. Appreciate them and listening to them. Don't stop listening to your kids.
You need police, fire, EMS.
Yes, because my ex-boyfriend just stole my car.
No one has heard from Alexis Crawford for nearly a week.
Alexis Crawford's parents were here along with her siblings, her cousins, other family members and friends, praying for her safe return. They were holding hands in prayer, and they were also...
People accused in the murder of a Clark Atlanta University student pleaded not guilty late this afternoon.
This is the story of Alexis Crawford, a promising college student whose life was stolen on the cusp of achieving her dreams, and the investigation that revealed how friendship and trust can sometimes mask the darkest intentions. Alexis Crawford came from Athens, Georgia, where she grew up surrounded by love in a large, tight-knit family. She was one of 10 siblings, 5 brothers and 4 sisters, and her parents, Bobby and Tammy, raised their children with strong values centered around faith and family bonds. Friends and relatives described Alexis as thoughtful, affectionate, and driven. She carried herself with a quiet confidence that came from working hard for everything she achieved. Her father, Bobby, worked in law enforcement, and that influenced Alexis deeply. She developed a passionate sense of justice and a desire to help others, which led her to study criminal justice at Clark Atlanta University. By the fall of 2019, she was a senior, just months away from graduation. She had dreams of working in a field where she could make real, positive changes in people's lives. Living off campus gave Alexis a taste of independence, and she seemed to have found the perfect roommate in Jordyn Jones, who was also 21. The two young women were described by those who knew them as inseparable, practically two halves of the same whole. Alexis called Jordyn her best friend, and their bond appeared genuine and deep. Jordyn had become so close to the Crawford family that she spent major holidays with them, Thanksgiving, Easter, all the occasions that matter most. For a random roommate assignment, it seemed like both women had struck gold. Alexis was conscientious about staying in touch with her family. She spoke to someone at home nearly every day, sometimes multiple times. Her presence was constant and reliable, which made what happened next all the more alarming to those who loved her. On the afternoon of October 30th, around 3:30, Alexis video called her mother Tammy and her sister Monica. The conversation was typical, light, cheerful, filled with the small talk and laughter that marked their usual exchanges. Before they hung up, Alexis asked Monica if she could send her some money through a Cash App. Their father Bobby approved, and Monica transferred the funds without a second thought. Later that evening, just before 9 o'clock, another sister, Alexandria, sent Alexis a text asking about her plans. It was homecoming weekend at the university, a time when the campus came alive with celebrations, parties, and school spirit. But Alexis's response was brief and unremarkable. She had nothing planned. Around 3 minutes past midnight, she posted something on Instagram, and about 20 minutes later, she responded to a direct message from someone on the platform. After that, silence. By November 1st, the concern had turned to panic. Alexis didn't show up for class. She missed a shift at work. These weren't small oversights. Alexis never missed commitments without explanation. She was responsible, dependable, and always communicated her whereabouts.
Missing Clark Atlanta student Naima Abdullahi joining us now from the Atlanta University Center. Naima, what do we know here?
Sheba, family and friends of 21-year-old Alexis Crawford desperately need your help to find her. That they're concerned for her safety and they're hoping to find her safely. We first found out about this yesterday, and here's what we know so far. Atlanta police confirmed a missing person report has been filed for the Clark Atlanta University senior. Her brother says that she was last seen on Wednesday, October 30th. Alexis Crawford is originally from Athens and lives off campus while attending Clark Atlanta University this semester. We're told school officials have been notified about her disappearance now. Police right now are also aware of what's going on. The university is aware, and now the family is asking for the public's help to find her. So if anyone saw her, know anything or saw anything, to contact police immediately.
Her family reported her missing, and law enforcement began piecing together her last known movements. Security footage confirmed that Alexis had left her apartment complex on the night of October 30th. Jordyn told investigators that she had driven Alexis to a nearby liquor store around 11:30 that night. She said she saw Alexis again about an hour later, shortly before going to bed. According to Jordyn, when she woke up on the morning of October 31st, Halloween, Alexis was gone. She had been sleeping in the living room recently, but there was no sign she'd been there overnight. Jordyn noticed that Alexis's phone, identification, and debit card were also missing. When Jordyn left for class, she found the front door locked from the outside. She assumed Alexis had left late that night to meet friends or attend a party, as many students did during homecoming weekend, but no other friends reported seeing Alexis. The only surveillance footage was from the liquor store. There was no activity on her bank accounts, no pings from her cell phone. The hashtag #Let'sFindLex began trending on social media as volunteers organized searches, focusing especially on an overgrown area across from her apartment building. The police said they couldn't rule out the possibility that she had left voluntarily, but those who knew her didn't believe that for a second.
No one has heard from Alexis Crawford for nearly a week.
Alexis Crawford's parents were here along with her siblings, her cousins, other family members and friends, praying for her safe return. They were holding hands in prayer, and they were also joined by the Clark Atlanta University president, who says that the campus community is completely devastated after Crawford's disappearance.
Earlier today, with the Clark Atlanta Police Department's Chief of Police, Chief Deborah Williams, and she assured this family that the Clark Atlanta Police Department would do everything it could to bring this young lady home to her family. And we just finished a meeting with the senior leadership here in the Atlanta Police Department, who also assured this family that as the lead investigative agency, they would do all that they could. And the family and I have great confidence in the men and women that are looking for Ms. Crawford. And we have every reason to believe that Atlanta police will get to the bottom of what happened to her. But today I stand with this family asking for several things of the people of Atlanta. First, I would ask the people of Atlanta to pray for the family and for Ms. Crawford. Secondly, and more importantly, there are people in this community, students in the AU Center and other places, that may have information that can be helpful in finding out just where Ms. Crawford is. And I would ask the people of Atlanta to come forward with any information that you might have to help the Atlanta Police Department to do their very best in finding Ms. Crawford and bringing her home. First person that I would ask to speak is Mr. Bobby Wright, who is Ms. Crawford's father, who drove up from Athens and has made the determination he's not leaving the city until his baby is found.
Baby, I love you, baby. Just come home. Come home, baby. Come home. I love you. Just come home. I'm not gonna leave until you get home.
And I hope God's walking with you, and please prevent any evil that comes our way. And we're here for you. I love you, Alexis. I miss you.
As you can see, the emotions are running very deep. This is a praying, believing family, and they do believe in and holding faith that Alexis will come home.
A pastor and family spokesperson made a cryptic statement that hinted at something darker. He mentioned that Alexis had recently experienced things no woman should ever have to endure. At the time, the meaning wasn't fully explained, but it would soon become clear. 3 days before she disappeared, Alexis had gone to the hospital and filed a police report. She told investigators that she believed she had been sexually assaulted by Barron Brantley, Jordyn's boyfriend, who was also 21. On the night of October 27th, the three of them had been drinking together at the apartment. Alexis said that Barron began making advances toward her, trying to kiss and touch her. She rejected him, and he claimed he thought she was Jordyn. Disturbed and uncomfortable, Alexis went into her bedroom to get away from him. He followed her. She locked herself in the bathroom, but she doesn't remember what happened next. She said she blacked out. When she regained consciousness, her underwear had been torn, and Barron was partially undressed. Jordyn had been banging on the bathroom door. When Barron finally opened it, he wasn't fully clothed, and the first words out of his mouth were, "I did not rape Alexis," even though no one had accused him of anything yet. By 6 in the morning, Barron had left the apartment in Jordyn's car. Jordyn called 911, but not to report the assault.
You need police, fire, EMS.
Yes, because my ex-boyfriend just stole my car. He took my keys and went.
Okay. What's your name?
Jordyn Jones.
All right, Miss Jones.
Jordyn.
We'll get an office out for you.
She reported her car stolen, calling Barron her ex-boyfriend, though every other account suggested they were still together. She made no mention of what had happened to Alexis. Alexis went to the hospital for a rape kit. The results came back with Barron's DNA. While she was going through this traumatic process, Jordyn did something that would later seem unforgivable. She secretly let Barron back into the apartment, where he stayed hidden in her room for the next several days. Alexis, meanwhile, was too frightened to sleep in her own bedroom. She moved to the living room, trying to feel safe in her own home, completely unaware that the man who had allegedly assaulted her was just a few feet away, behind her roommate's closed door. As the search intensified, investigators turned their attention back to Alexis's apartment and the people closest to her. They spoke again with Jordyn, who admitted that she and Alexis were no longer on speaking terms because of the sexual assault report. The more detectives pressed, the more inconsistencies emerged in her story. Finally, on November 8th, 1 week after Alexis was reported missing, Jordyn, accompanied by her father who worked in law enforcement, led investigators to a park in DeKalb County, about 11 miles from the apartment. There, hidden in the woods, they found Alexis's body. She had been stuffed into a plastic storage bin and left among the trees. An autopsy revealed that she had died from asphyxiation. She had been strangled and smothered. The conclusion was devastating but unavoidable. Alexis Crawford had been murdered. Within hours, police announced that they had charged 2 people with premeditated murder, Jordyn Jones and Barron Brantley. The news sent shockwaves through the Clark Atlanta University community and beyond. It was difficult to fathom. Alexis had been killed by her best friend and that friend's boyfriend, the same man she had just reported for sexual assault. Both suspects began talking, but their accounts pointed fingers at each other. According to their statements, sometime in the early morning hours of October 31st, a fight broke out between Alexis and Jordyn. The argument quickly turned physical. Barron, who had been hiding in Jordyn's bedroom, emerged when he heard the commotion. What happened next was brutal and swift. Barron admitted to choking Alexis while Jordyn grabbed a plastic bag and placed it over her head, smothering her. Investigators described hearing Barron recount the sounds Alexis made as she struggled to breathe, the agony in her voice as her life slipped away. Surveillance footage from the apartment complex's parking garage showed Jordyn's car being pulled up to a door around 3 in the morning. Police believe this was when Alexis's body was loaded into the vehicle. The pair had placed her remains in a plastic storage bin from the apartment, cleaned up the blood in the living room. Investigators later found traces of blood in at least 6 different locations despite the cleanup, and then drove to Exchange Park in DeKalb County, where they dumped her body in the woods. After committing this horrific act, they returned to the apartment and went to sleep. Later that day, Jordyn texted a friend asking her to replace the missing storage bin. That evening, they got dressed and went to a Halloween party, as if nothing had happened. Jordyn continued the charade for days. She turned off Alexis's phone but kept texting it, pretending to worry about her friend's whereabouts. She posted on social media asking for help in finding Alexis. One post read in part, "This is obviously a difficult time for me, and I just feel helpless. My heart is really hurting right now." There was no trace of remorse, no indication that she had just participated in taking her best friend's life. The motive remained somewhat unclear, but the timeline was impossible to ignore. Just 3 days before Alexis disappeared, she had filed her sexual assault complaint against Barron. It's entirely possible that the fight that led to her death stemmed from that report, though investigators noted that whether the complaint was a direct motive or whether the murder arose from an escalating argument remains uncertain. On November 16th, hundreds of people gathered for Alexis's funeral. Buses of students and faculty from Clark Atlanta University made the trip to Athens to pay their respects. Barron Brantley and Jordyn Jones were soon indicted by a grand jury. They both pleaded not guilty to 6 charges, including felony murder, false imprisonment, and concealing the death of another. Barron faced additional charges, including aggravated sodomy for the alleged sexual assault, as well as probation violations and hindering someone from making an emergency call.
Crawford's mother and father also addressed the judge during Jones's bond hearing today.
She died for no reason. No reason at all. Oh my God. But Jordyn took his route. Jordyn chose to go to the evil side.
Prosecutors announced they would not seek the death penalty for either defendant. Barron had a lengthy criminal history with multiple prior arrests, including theft, battery, fleeing police, family violence, and cruelty to children. He had been booked into the Fulton County Jail 5 times in just 2 years. Jordyn, on the other hand, had no significant criminal record aside from a misdemeanor. Both were denied bond. The judge noted that Jordyn posed a significant flight risk, especially after it was revealed that just hours after Alexis's death, she had withdrawn from school and was planning to move back to Michigan. She had also attempted to contact witnesses and had told Alexis's family members that no DNA was found in the rape kit, when in fact it had all traced back to Barron. Her defense attorney argued that she had been cooperative and supportive following the assault allegation, but the evidence suggested otherwise. She had allowed Barron to hide in her apartment while Alexis was still processing the trauma. As the case moved forward, both defendants began distancing themselves from responsibility, each blaming the other for the murder. In 2023, another setback came when a judge ruled that Barron's confession could not be used as evidence. The court determined that he had likely been under the influence of drugs when he gave his statement, raising questions about whether detectives had taken advantage of his condition. Prosecutors argued that his confession had been voluntary and that it matched Jordyn's version of events, but the ruling stood. Then, in a move that shocked the Crawford family, the court indicated it was considering allowing Barron to apply for bail. Alexis's mother, Tammy, wrote an emotional letter expressing the unbearable pain her family felt and pleading with the court to keep both defendants locked up. Reverend Hutchins, the family spokesperson, described the crime as not just unexplainable, but unspeakable, evil in its purest form. As of 2025, the case continues to wind through the legal system with no trial date yet set for either defendant. In April of that year, the Georgia Supreme Court ruled that incriminating phone calls Barron made from jail could be used as evidence at trial, overturning a lower court's decision. Prosecutors also sought to introduce Instagram messages between the two defendants that allegedly showed them conspiring to hide Alexis's body and coordinating their stories before speaking with detectives. These messages reportedly included reassurances to each other, telling one another to be careful and not to answer more than necessary when questioned. The delays have been agonizing for Alexis's family, who remain in a state of limbo, waiting for justice. They can't move forward, can't find closure, and can't bring Alexis back. All they have are memories of a vibrant young woman who was on the verge of graduating, who wanted to help people, and who trusted the wrong person with her safety and her friendship. Alexis's sister, Alexandria, said that Alexis would always be her role model, her strength and her aspiration. Bobby, her father, urged other parents to hold their children close, to listen to them, and never to stop appreciating them. Tammy added that while nothing could bring her daughter back, keeping the accused killers in jail without bail would at least provide her family with some peace and security, while they waited for justice to finally be served. Alexis Crawford's story is a reminder of how quickly trust can be shattered and how betrayal can come from the places we least expect. She deserved better. She deserved to graduate, to pursue her dreams, to live a full and meaningful life. Instead, her memory lives on in the hearts of those who loved her, and in the ongoing fight for justice that her family refuses to abandon. Retry.